Hello, everybody. So it's George from Ireland. Anyway, it's shocking what's been going on in Bournemouth, Dorset, where a woman, Livia Tossici Bolt, a 62-year-old pensioner, she is on trial at the moment, and it's because she stood outside an abortion clinic holding a completely unobjectionable anodyne sign bearing the words "Here to talk if you want." Now, no one can possibly be harmed by such a legend. Who has ever been harmed by this? Who's the victim here? So she's a human rights activist, and her human rights are being taken away, her freedom of expression, because the United Kingdom, well, it's severally Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, England, they've all deprive people of their rights to demonstrate outside abortion clinics within 150 meters or so. And so she was arrested for going to the so-called British Pregnancy Advisory Clinic in Bournemouth. It's actually a human slaughterhouse. Little children are murdered inside there. They have their limbs ripped off. They have deadly poisons injected into their hearts with the express intention of causing cardiac arrest. They are asphyxiated. This is the ritual murder of girls and boys. They are tortured to death, and we have to pay for it. But anyone who might try to save a child, she or he faces a ruinous fine and jail if they can't pay or won't pay. Wow, it's staggering and it's sickening. Um, It's not a party political issue, all right? You could be a conservative and a child murderer. You might be Labourer and a child's defender. Having said that, I'm sad to say I don't know of a single Labour MP these days who'll stand up for children. They are paedophobes. The Conservative Party is almost as bad. The Liberal Democrats, they're basically all bad. The SNP, the whole lot. Even Sinn Féin, evil, evil, evil though they are, until recently, some of them did at least speak up for children. And the SDLPs be good on this, but they're all horrific. The Green Party is perhaps the worst. Anyway, so she's issued with this fixed penalty notice. Now, her human rights have been violated. Article 10 of the Human Rights Act protects free speech. She didn't say anything about abortion. If you wanted to speak to her, she might give you the benefit of her views. So, women in a difficult situation, these mothers might have been coerced, threatened, or whatever, misinformed, and she might offer practical support, free nappies, free formula, whatever, money, moral support, but and she had some fruitful conversations, so she said, but she's been criminalized for doing no harm whatsoever. So the Alliance Defending Freedom is actually speaking up for her. Now, you might really enjoy abortion and think it's lovely, and still recognize that this woman did absolutely nothing wrong and her rights must be upheld. It is mind blowing that what she is doing is considered to be a crime, whereas the murder of the child is a virtuous act that gets rewarded with money, promotions, certificates of appreciation, public laud, people going around bragging about it. And that's just how far the United Kingdom has gone, that how far demagoguery has gone. Most people are evil on this issue. So anyway, so the UK is not in line with human rights, a so-called buffer zone, the people not to speak where they're allowed to. Um, so the police are harassing people like that. Held signs saying "pregnant, need help," and so on. And so the police, they won't come for serious violent crimes, but they will come after, little old ladies who've never done any harm whatsoever. And this is why there's a grain of truth to what J.D. Vance said, and he's an absolute scumbag. I utterly despise him. He's a bit inaccurate what he said, but how people's freedom of expression is being infringed, to say the least. So speak up for this woman who was trying to save children's lives. And harassment's illegal anyway. There's no need for this legislation. Um, Intimidation is illegal anyway. So why did they ever prosecute people on that basis? Because there was no harassment or intimidation ever committed in these places. So it is nauseating, but as I say yet again, unsurprising. So that they make all these bogus accusations saying that they're harassing people or intimidating people or people are misogynists. Any nonsense, anything to divert people's attention from what's actually going on, telling the most blatant lies, claiming that murder is healthcare. Not very healthy for the little people are trying to prevent themselves becoming parents. They already are parents. The only question is, are their children going to come out of their wombs alive or dead? Now, life is better than death, isn't it? And if not, why are you still alive? I certainly don't favor suicide, but perhaps the abortionists must do. Now, anyway, I don't want the death penalty, even for the guiltiest, but abortionists want it for the most innocent. Something a bit wrong about that, isn't there? Anyway, this woman may yet be convicted, get a ruinous fine. It shows what an unjust and oppressive law it is, run by the abortion industry. And we're facing the extinction of the human race. It's probably several centuries away. We've got time to change things around. Now, no one's obliged to have children become pregnant or to avoid pregnancy. But without more pregnancies, without more births, there is no human race. So I think one day people will wake up and come to their senses, maybe towards the end of this century, when they see that billions of children, and I do mean billions, have been murdered down the millennia by abortionists, particularly by feminists in recent generations. And those girls and boys were just as human as you and me, had the same right to life. And then we're facing the end of the human race. I mean, it's a very long way off, so it doesn't happen. But at this rate, the last Japanese person is due to die in several centuries. So we've got to turn things around. And I would be pro-life even if there was a population explosion. Well, we have to do this to keep the population down. What if you were the one whose head was on the block, as it were, and you were going to be killed? No, you can't do that just for this reason. You can avoid conception in the first instance using any method of contraception which prevents conception and doesn't kill whose child is already being conceived. That's a completely different thing. And don't believe the lies that the abortion industry tells you. The pro-lifers are not against removing a miscarried baby, a dead body from a mother's womb, right? They're not against doing this heartbreaking thing of killing a child because otherwise the mother will die as well in the case of ectopic pregnancy or possibly ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, something like that. So when it really is a medical need, I don't know of a single person who objects to that. Um, so they will just pretend that it prevents real medical care, which it most certainly doesn't. Most women want to become pregnant at least once. Some women never want to become pregnant, which is absolutely respectable. But pregnancy is not a disease to be cured, and therefore abortion cannot be healthcare. If it really is healthcare, why don't you do this to every single pregnancy then? It's clear that it's not. And patients don't always get their want, shouldn't always get what they want. If I wanted a medicine which is not right for me, the dose is not right for me, of course it wouldn't be prescribed. If people want a treatment which is not right for them, a harmful operation, so on, it would not be performed on them by a doctor with any ethics whatsoever. Well, thank you for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, then in PayPal. I'm sorry for this stain on my, which side is it on my face? Bye-bye.